Whew. All right, here's the big one. The D4 patch notes for Season 4. This should be a fun one to go through. It's going to be a long one to go through, so strap in. If there's only specific things that you're looking for, I'm chopping everything up in the chapters or whatever sections you want to look at below. This is going to be a very long video. This is the biggest patch that they've done in Diablo 4, and we're just going to kind of dive right in. If you don't know what's going on, this is the Season 4 update past PTR. So we're going to see some red lettering in here, and that means changes from the PTR have been highlighted in red. So everything that happened from PTR onward, if it's in red, that's the changes that have been done. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to dive right in here because this is, like I said, it's going to be a long video. We're going to just get right into it. So updates from the PTR. Feature updates. There is no longer a chance for masterworking to fail. It's pretty big. The masterwork animation has been removed for non-milestone ranks 1 through 3, 5 through 7, etc. This is really good because that animation got annoying. The first few times you've seen it, you were like, oh, this is great. And then, yeah, now you're wasting my time. Anyway, moving on. Tempering results screen now shows the result affix, its role, and the affix range. This is a very positive thing. More information on the screen, the better. Various UI improvements for the tempering and masterworking experience. Okay. Added multiple tiers of masterworking material caches that transmute far more materials than were previously available. All right. Visual indication has been added to the imprint UI, which indicates which legendary affixes are currently equipped. Like I said, more information the better. You can now search the term equip or equipped within the Codex of Power list to currently equip affixes. Codex of Power we'll dive into in a little bit, but big positive changes with that. We've added an inventory icon to indicate items that have at least one greater affix. Basically, there's a little icon that shows up. I'm sure we'll see examples of that here. Helltide in the Pit. Here we go. Big changes here. Party members that spend the rune stone, or rune shards, I should say, to open the pit get 100% of the masterworking materials. The rest of the party receives half the amount. They're trying to nerf party play a little bit because it's broken. Let's be real. If you're a solo player, if you don't have any friends, you better go make friends if you want to save a lot of time. Honestly, like, if we could get like a solo self-found league, that would just fix all of this. That would be better, in my opinion. But as it is, you're getting nerfed for playing in a party. Doesn't feel great, but, you know, you get to speed it up. You know, you use your match, they use their match. You still get loot. You still get the party play. So it's something. It's not as broken as it was. Artillery and blast shrines will no longer spawn in the pit. All right. And Hellborn spawn chance in the Helltide zones has been increased, so we're going to see a lot more of those baddies. Baneful Heart drop rate has been adjusted to be more consistent. Overall loot quality from the Blood Maiden has been improved. She's kind of a rough one, man. Loot quality has also been improved for players that contribute materials. So, again, what we just touched on. If you use the materials, you get bonuses. Doomsayer variants now, which used to drop a chest of Doomsaying on defeat, will now drop the contents, so it's less clicking. Makes sense. Balance adjustments. Many tempering affixes that were either overperforming or underperforming have been adjusted. The tempering affix for maximum size increase for various effects and such, and like Dust Devils and Bone Spirit, now capped at 100%. This is to stop the giant flow of I can't see what's going on that was happening in PTR. When you had too many people spamming Dust Devils or whatever on your screen, it was bleh. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't see what was on the ground. So this was needed. Much needed. All right. Moving on. Itemization updates. Full details on itemization, including Legendary Aspects, Codex of Power, please read our Season 4 blog here. Please continue reading. Here are some of the major items coming with the itemization updates. I would think there would be something to click here, but whatever. All right, extracting an aspect now upgrades it in the Codex of Power. All aspects now exist in the Codex of Power. No more tabs filling up with Codex of or aspects. We've wanted this since release. Thank goodness it's here. Various item affixes have been updated, and the overall pool of affixes has been condensed. Additionally, greater affixes have been introduced. Appearing only on ancestral legendaries and unique items, these are more powerful 1.5x versions of normal affixes. Each item affix has a chance to be a greater affix in World Tier 4. So pretty much when you get an ancestral legendary and a unique, it has a chance to roll greater affixes. What greater affixes are, obviously, they're 1.5 times the stat range that you can... So, let's say... the greater affix rolls on the main stat, like strength if you're a barb or something. Boom, that's suddenly like 1.5x multiplied. Like it's just woof, it's a big increase. So this is cool. New tempering and masterworking systems allow deeper customization of items and access to new affixes. Cool. Legendary item drop from enemies 95 plus are always 925. Big plus. Everything 95 plus, 925. No more target farming for 925 gear. Just whoosh, go kill. Unique items can now drop earlier in the game. World Tier 3. Unique items now drop as non-sacred in World Tier 1 and 2. World Tier 4 unique items now drop as sacreds in World Tier 3. And then Uber unique items can start dropping from monster level 55, drops at 925 item power. So that if you get an Uber drop, it's not like womp, got it at level 60, so it sucks. It's really strong. Minimum levels required to equip sacred and ancestral items have been reduced. Sacred for 35, ancestrals 55. Moving on. Now for the game updates. Changes from the PTR have been highlighted in red. So everything you see in red is going to be brand new information. If you looked at the patch notes before, you might want to look at them again. All right, so they changed some accessibility things here. They added an option to highlight NPCs, characters, and enemies found within Sanctuary to make them easier to distinguish. This is a positive thing. It's always good to be able to know what's going on. Additional highlights greatly increase the contrast of the characters within the world. In-game options can be used to modify the intensity, as well as colors. Cool. Now everyone can glow blue. Helltide Reborn. These are the Helltide changes in the game update area. This is kind of a big one. They revamped Helltide immensely. This is going to be a lot of fun, actually. I'm looking forward to Helltide probably the most out of Season 4. So Helltide has been updated and provide more challenges and rewards. Helltide threats. As you battle through Helltide, you now generate threat. How much will be determined by the difficulty of monsters and how often your secured torture gifts within Helltide. So the more chests you pop, the more threat you get. There are 3 Helltide threat tiers that each increase the danger and frequency of monster ambushes. At tier 3, you will become Hell Marked. Achieving maximum threat will initiate a brief ambush frenzy of maximum enemy density. The ambush will end when with a final Hellborn spawn, an immensely powerful agent of Hell resurrected from the tortured souls of Sanctuary's most powerful champions. Essentially, these are the shades from Season 2. If you played the Vampire season. If you didn't, I'll just walk through it real quick. Basically, it's going to form a red version of a Barbarian, Druid, Necromancer, Rogue, Sorc, and they're going to use those abilities of those characters, and they're really juiced up. Basically, think of Dark Link or something similar. There are 5 variants representing each class in Diablo IV, like I just said. Upon activating the Hellborn ambush, your threat will reset. Dying will reset your threat, or just end your character. Or Discord yelling at me. Hang on. I have to fix this. There couldn't be any little flub ups, in the read off. So the accursed ritual. Baneful hearts can can primarily be earned through opening tortured gift chests and be used at the Accursed Ritual location. Baneful Hearts can also drop from Hellborn Demons, Doomsayers. So, pretty much you're going to be using these Baneful Hearts. You need 3 of these to unlock another maiden thing in Helltide. It's a big boss that you get to fight. Pretty fun, pretty hard. Well, if you're not min-max, it's not the easiest thing. We'll just say that. A scene of shocking gore. The Accursed Ritual is the ultimate testament to the disturbing lengths the followers of Hell will go to appease their dark wishes. So here you can begin the Accursed Ritual. Deposit 3 Baneful Hearts to begin the ritual, and you will be swarmed with a dense demonic ambush. Other players within your subzone will be alerted that the ritual has begun if they wish to join you in your fight. This ambush will climax with the arrival of the Blood Maiden, an immensely powerful demonic creature who will offer great rewards upon her death. She's kind of tough. When you first start bumping into her, I think she's going to start killing a lot of people. So if you're playing hardcore, be on the lookout for this. Like, seriously, watch out. They took out death potions, by the way. So if you're playing hardcore, be careful. World Tiers 1 and 2 adjustments. The version of Helltide has been introduced to World Tiers 1 and 2 with the following adjustments. All tortured gifts are mystery chests. No roaming bosses. Monster density adjusted to match expected difficulty of World Tier 3 and 4. So this is cool. All tortured gifts are mystery chests, so you just pop and go. Grab loot, go. Keep going. They buffed the XP as well in Helltide, so that's the leveling spot. Hopefully we don't get to go back to dopamine tunnels. I mean, it was great, but it's time for something else. Let's get out of there. All right, we have some new items as well in general. Unique items. Tyrael's Might has made its appearance. While at full life, your skills unleash a divine barrage, dealing damage. Yen's Blessing. Unique boots. Casting a skill has a 40 to 60% chance to cast a non-mobility, non-ultimate skill that is currently on cooldown. This effect can only occur every 8 seconds. Interesting to see what comes with that. Legendary aspects. Aspects of Frosty Strides. While below 45 to 60% life, Evade freezes close enemies for cold damage and applies vulnerability to them for 3 seconds. Pretty cool. Aspect of Concussive Strikes. Lucky Hit. Damaging an enemy has up to a 20% chance to daze them for 2 seconds. You deal 5 to 20% increased damage to dazed enemies. Okay. Now we're going to go to the Barbarian unique items. Let's see what we have here. Barbarians. Ariats bearing unique pants. Ancients you summon are empowered. Korlik will create an earthquake that deals physical damage over time for 4 seconds. Talik will leave behind dust devils that deal damage while they whirlwinds. And Madoc ignites the ground, burning enemies for an additional damage over 4 seconds when he upheaves the ground. So he basically has that Hellhammer thing. Kind of neat. Little flavor. Twin Strikes. Unique gloves. After casting 4 or double swing 4 times, your next double swing will hit 2 additional times, each dealing 10 to 25% increased damage. Pretty neat for a double swing build. I like that. Legendary aspects for barbs. Your shout skills create 3 dust devils that deal damage to enemies along their path. And also, your Dust Devils are now only 5 to 20% bigger instead of a flat 15, and deal 1% increased damage for each 1% of their size increase. We're still going to get big Dust Devils, I already know, but it's manageable hopefully now. Okay, moving on from Barb to Druid changes. What do we have here? So Druids get an Earthbreaker ring. This ring is really cool. We actually got our hands on this when we were playing the PTR. I really liked it. It was pretty neat. So the Earthbreaker unique ring. Landslide causes the ground to erupt in tectonic spikes, which continue to deal 0.6 to 0.9 damage over 2 seconds. Casting Landslide in this area has a 20 to 30% chance to cause additional landslide pillars to spawn within. So sometimes when you get really lucky, it would just like keep procking. It was kind of insane on bosses. It was fun. It wasn't like super OP or anything, or it wasn't at the time, but you know, it was neat. Wild Heart Hunger, unique boots. When you shapeshift into a werewolf or a werebear, you gain Wild Heart for 5 seconds. Wild Heart grants you 1 to 1.5% increased damage with shapeshifting skills every 2 seconds, stacking 20 times. I didn't get my hands on this, but I do know that Blizzard was trying their best. We played Druid a lot, so I'm gonna kind of harp on Druid a little bit. But they mentioned that they really wanted to kind of buff up druids that wanted to shapeshift from bear to wolf, wolf to bear, human, except like, you know, people that shapeshifted a lot. Instead of what you currently have is you're either a werebear or you're a human or you're a werewolf. It's one of the three. You don't really bounce between them that much. So they're trying to cater to those players, which is a good thing. I like that. I like options are great. We have some legendary aspects that got changed up a little bit here for Druid. What do we have here? Aspect of Fevered Mauling. When you hit at least one enemy with Maul, increase its attack speed by 1% to 2.5%. That was changed from 1 to 2 points. You know, a little bit of a buff. And you gain 1 to 3% damage reduction for 5 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Now, I'm going to say this again at the end of the stream, or at the end of the stream. At the end of this video, damage reduction is going to be one of those chaser affixes that's so rare apparently now that damage reduction anywhere you can get it is a big bonus. So be on the lookout for that, especially you hardcore players. Okay, moving on. We got Necromancer here. Necromancer get for item updates here. We got unique items. Ebon Piercer, unique amulet. Blight also shoots 4 smaller projectiles that pierce enemies and deal shadow damage over 3 seconds. Pretty cool. Kruor's, I think I'm saying that right. Kruor's Embrace, unique gloves. It's a Blood Surge gloves here. So Blood Surge consumes corpses to cause mini novas, dealing damage. Damage is increased by 10% per target drain by the initial cast, up to 50%. Damage is also increased by 20% for each corpse consumed. Pretty neat. This will be the first season I dive into Necromancers. I'm really excited to understand this stuff better. Been mostly Barbarian and Druid and Rogue. So I'm excited to try out Sorks and Necromancer soon. So legendary aspects. Aphotic aspect. Skeletal Priest. Empower your skeletal warriors' attacks to deal shadow damage and have a 5 to 20% chance to stun them for 1.5. Pretty cool. Moving on to Rogue. Scoundrel's Kiss. This is the one that makes rapid fire turn into mortars. It's pretty cool. Scoundrel's Kiss projectile pattern is now more predictable. So pretty much when you shot rapid fire, it was a straight line. If you have this ring equipped, it goes woo. Makes a little alley-oop there. It's kind of cool. Very D3-ish feeling, but it's still pretty neat. Saboteur's Signet, unique ring. Casting Flurry has a 15 to 30% chance to release grenades that deal physical damage and stun enemies for 1 second. Excuse me. Your grenade skills have a 2% chance. Oh, they nerfed it. Really? It was a 5% lucky hit chance. Now it's a 2%. But I guess you drop a lot of grenades, so I don't know how that translates. I've never made a grenade build, but it seems very niche and fun. Legendary aspects. Aspect of high velocity. Barrage arrows now pierce through one enemy. Good. Barrage now has a 10 to 20% increased attack speed. Very good. Moving on to Sorks. All right, so Fractured Winterglass, a unique amulet. This thing was funny in the PTR. Casting Frozen Orb has a 35 to 50% chance to spawn a random conjuration when it explodes. Lucky hit, your conjurations have a 50 to 70% chance now to launch a Frozen Orb at nearby enemies. Pretty much this was like forever Frozen Orb, and it was so neat to see, but a little crazy. Extra explosions from the aspect of Frozen Orbit do not trigger this effect, as the unique calls out casting. This unintended interaction was fixed since the PTI. It was wild. I'm sure you can find plenty of videos out there, but it was pretty fun to see. Flameweaver, unique gloves. Casting Firebolt through your firewall causes it to split into 4 bolts, each dealing 80 to 100% more damage. Flameweaver now splits Firebolts to 3 instead of 4, and damage buff to 30 to 70 instead of 10 to 30. So this is pretty neat. In the PTR, you could shotgun this. And what I mean by that, for those that don't know what shotgunning something is, so how this ability worked was when there was a flame wall, this box right here is going to be a flame wall, okay? When the flame wall was here and you shot a firebolt into it, it would split into 3, like just whoosh. And if the flame wall was here and an enemy was here and you shot the firebolt into it, all 3 projectiles would hit that one target. So now that they've buffed it, if you can shotgun 4 shots and the damage buff is increased even further, that could be pretty cool. That could be pretty cool. And the reason I like this so much is it's an active style of playing. You have to do something to get your reward, to get your damage, and that's positives. It's not just like click one button, boom, 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 boom. It's set this up, do your damage. Set this up, do your damage. I love this style of play. I really do. Stutter stepping and stuff too is really fun to me. So pretty cool. Legendary aspects. Aspect of Tenuous Destruction. Deal 25 to 40% increased damage while you have no defensive or skills on your action bar. This is they're trying to push Sorks away from having just full-on defensives. It's cool. Flamethrower's aspect. Incinerate now splits into 3 beams, each dealing 70 to 85% of normal damage. Pretty cool. That the only thing I don't like about Incinerate is I know it's going to do more damage. I know it's going to be better. But if you're forcing a character to stand still for something, to channel something, it needs to be an exponential reward as opposed to being able to be mobile, cast something, move, cast something, move, cast something, move. It needs to be exponentially better because when you're standing still, you die. Simple as that. When you're fighting, say, Uber Lilith or anything like that, if you're standing still, you're going to die. So, I don't know. I still don't think it'll be great, but it'll be fun. That's what it's all about, right? Moving on to the big chunky one, we got balance updates here. Let's see what we have for balance updates. So, in general, we got unique items. The Banished Lord's Talisman, the thing that made overpowered. Well, it wasn't the only thing, but it was one of them. They updated visuals and sounds to indicate that your next core skill will overpower. That's cool. Critical strike overpower damage has been reduced from 80 to 120 to 20 to 60. Ooh. Sorry, that was my Discord again. I thought I ended it, but I didn't. We'll do it again. People are excited about Season 4, so they're chatting it up in Discord, so I love it. All right, resources needed for guaranteed overpowered reduced from 300 to 275. Man, this crit strike overpower damage, man, it needed to be toned down, and I still think it's going to be really strong, especially for barbs, I'm sure. But dang, that's a big neuter right there. All right, Tybalt's will damage increase while unstoppable has been reduced from 20 to 40. Whoa, this got halved as well. This is good. They're toning it down a little bit. I like this because Tybalt's is pretty damn strong. Damage increased persists for 1 second longer after being unstoppable. Okay. A little easier to use. Razor Plate. They talked about this in the dev discussion. I'm really curious. What'd they do to Razor Plate? Because Razor Plate's a meme at this point, right? Okay. Razor Plate has been updated to function. Oh. Razor Plate can function with new masterworking system. Now it has 4 thorn affixes instead of no affixes. New unique power thorns has a 10% chance to deal 100 to 150% increased damage. Really? We may see some Trolley Thorn builds. This will be fun. Especially for your PvPers. Y'all enjoy that. Oh, man. All right, legendary aspects. Disobedience. Armor stacks no longer fall off independently. They now refresh or reset at the same time. This is good. Armor gain changed to 25 to 40%. I feel like the armor cap is not going to be that hard to get anymore, so I think disobedience is going to start to fall off a little bit. I really feel like disobedience is about to get gone. Assimilation. Previously, you have an 8% increased chance to dodge versus enemies affected by dots. When you dodge, you gain 5 to 10 of your primary resource. Now, you have 8% increased dodge chance. When you dodge, you fortify for 5 to 10% of your max life. Ooh. That's kind of cool, I guess. Like easy fortification for a rogue, possibly. Of retribution, chance to stun increased from 8 to 10%. Now increases damage to stun and knock down enemies. How much? How much, Blizzard? How much? Of inner calm. Previously dealt 5 to 10% increased damage when you stand still up to 40%. Now it deals 5 to 10% increased damage. Triple this bonus after standing still for 3 seconds. I like that. I really like that. Crowded Sage. You heal for 0 to 181 life per second for each close enemy. You have 8% increased dodge chance. Successful dodges restore 5 to 20% of your max life. Damn. Man, I feel like you can stack your dodge up and just get going, man. Like with assimilation and this Crowded Sage, that's a 16% dodge chance just outright off your aspects. Huh. It'd be something interesting to look at. Bold Chieftain, now usable by both Barbs and Druids. Needle Flare now also applies thorns to Necromancer minions. Yes, 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 yes. Hectic Aspect. Cooldown reduction reduced from 2 to 4 seconds to 1 to 2 seconds. Ooh. Okay, now what do we have here? Under miscellaneous. Monsters will still deal more damage the higher they are, but their relative damage reduction will remain the same from levels 100 onward. This change was made to account for level 200 boss monsters doing extreme amounts of damage to players that are capped for armor. This is good. So, okay, what I was saying earlier in the dev blog, I didn't quite understand that, but I was thinking like anything over 100 would just start to smash you. So that's good. That's good. Necromancers, Barbs, Druids, Sorc, Companions now receive 100% of the player attributes. This is what makes Necromancer minions go burr this season. Very big. Skill tags have been updated everywhere to allow more aspects and other effects to affect. More skills and abilities. Examples. Applicable shout skills for Druid and Barb are now tagged as shouts. Chain tag for abilities like Chain Lightning and Rabies. Okay, so that's cool. That's needed, I think. Damage reduction granted by Fortify has been increased from 10 to 15%. Again, I wish that was like literally double. We'll see how it plays out, though. Cooldown reduction is now capped at 75%. Physical damage calculation against damage reduction now caps at 100. Okay. The maximum evade charge affix has been increased from 2 to 3. Ooh. Get the hop, skip, jump everywhere. The attacks to reduce evades cooldown affix has been increased from 0.8 to 1.5 seconds. The evade grants movement speed affix has been increased to 125. Jeez. All resistances from amulets has been increased from 19 to 25%. I love this change because I hate it. Why couldn't it just been 20%? All right, 19. Why? Keep it even, man. Keep it even. I know 25 is not even, but you know what? It's in between, so it's good enough. It's fine. It's 5. Single element resistances on rings has been increased from 8 to 10%. Again, good. Barbarians. Okay, these are... All right, now we're getting into some big changes here. So These are the changes to the classes separately. So here we go. We're going to cut this up into chapters too. So Barbarian, here we go. What'd we do? In general with Barbarians, 10% innate damage reduction has been removed. That's a little scary. Legendary powers that require Call of the Ancients to be equipped no longer have that requirement. So now you can just get your Ancients out there without having it on your bar. That's a good thing. Previously, Dust Devils would have varying durations, speeds, and movement patterns based on which legendary aspect created them. Huh. Now they all behave consistently regardless of which aspect they came from. Additionally, this is changes. The following updates have been applied for Dust Devils. The maximum number of Dust Devils that can be active at once is now 15, so you can't have hundreds of these damn things going around. Dust Devils now move more quickly and dissipate sooner. This is good. All right, so let's see some of these balance changes here. Charge. Damage has been reduced from 250% to 180. I still think it's going to be perfectly acceptable to do a charge build. We played Charge Barb. We've done Charge Barb since it was bad. In season 1, we were messing around with Charge Barb, and then season 2 we really messed with Charge Barb. Season 3, Charge got ridiculous, and now they're just kind of toning it back down a little bit. This is fine. I think Charge Barb is still going to be glorious to play. So, Power Charge. Cooldown reduction per target hit reduced from 3 to 2 seconds. Cooldown reduction for hitting a boss reduced from 6 to 4 seconds. Maximum cooldown reduction from 9 to 6 seconds. Okay, maybe Charge Barb won't be... Okay, it'll still be fine. You just may... You're going to have to try a little bit harder to be able to charge and charge and charge and charge and charge versus before you just had to catch 3 enemies and you could consistently just zoom, 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 zoom. It was fun, though. It's fine, though. It's balanced. Barbs need some tone downs. Speaking of tone downs, Furious Hammer of the Ancients. Previously, Hammer of the Ancients dealt 1% multiplicative increased damage for each point of fury you had when using it. Now, Hammer of the Ancients gains 2%. Ooh, additive. Okay, additive increased crit strike chance for every 10 fury you get when using it. Ooh. So you're going to be able to, like... You'll get a nice little chunk of crit chance with it. Ooh. That's a big change. That is a big change. All right. Well, I think it's safe to say that Hammer of the Ancients probably got brought in line with this. That's a big change. You went from being able to have, on the first swing, 100% multiplicative damage, which was broken. Don't get me wrong. This is a good thing. But, man, that's big. I think it'll still be decent. If not broken still. We'll have to rely on Rob to figure that one out. Violent Rend. Rend's damage against vulnerable enemies has been increased by over double. That's good. They want them bleed builds coming. Rupture. The initial damage dealt from Rupture is now guaranteed to overpower. Pretty cool. Call of the Ancients. Corlic leap damage has been increased by about 50%. Corlic frenzy damage has been increased by 20%. Talik's whirlwind damage has been increased by 33%. Maddock upheaval damage has been increased by right at 100%. So that's cool. Call of the Ancients got a buff. Kick. Range of damage has been increased from 2.2 meters to 3. Little AoE boost. Additional damage when enemy is knocked into a wall increased by 35%. Wow. That'd be kind of cool too. Kick was always fun to use. It felt good, you know. Power Kick. Damage per 10 fury consumed increased from 20 to 25%. Kick Barbs. Let's go. Passives. Unbridled Rage. Bonus damage reduced from 135% multiplicative to 100% multiplicative. Unbridled Rage was really strong. It was just better than everything else. Weapon expertise, polearm expertise. Let's see what we got here. Lucky hit chance has been increased from 10% to 15% multiplicative. Damage while healthy increased from 10 to 15%. Okay. Two-handed mace expertise. I actually use this somewhat. Fury gain has been increased from 2 to 5. Okay. Previously, you dealt 15% multiplicative increased crit strike damage to stunned or vulnerable enemies. Now, you deal 15% increased crit strike damage while berserking. Ooh. Berserk. Blunt Baba. Two-handed axe expertise. Got a nerf. Wow. So they lowered that by 10%. Or 5%, sorry. It went from 15 to 10. One-handed axe expertise. Critical strike chance against injured enemies has been increased from 5 to 10%. Man, Barb's going to be crit beasts. Paragon board. What happened here? Martial glyph. Cooldown reduction reduced from 4 to 2. Wow, Martial got a big nerf there. Blood Rage legendary node. Uh-oh. Damage increased by berserking bonus reduced from 25 to 10% and caps at 30. Okay. That kind of stings a little bit, but ooh. Crusader glyph. Additional bonus overpower damage reduced from 30% multiplicative to 20. Ooh. Ooh. Dominate glyph. Bonus overpower damage per 5 willpower reduced from 39.9 to 14.9 at glyph level 21. Ooh, mama. Previously, after not overpowering for 30 seconds, your next attack would overpower. Now, every 30 seconds, your next attack will overpower. So that's a promised overpower every 30 seconds. That's cool. I like that a lot more than, you know, oops, I overpowered. Now, you know. Seething glyph. Additional bonus fury gain on enemy kill increased 3 to 5. Cool. Some legendary aspect changes. Let's see what we got here. Aspect of Sundered Ground. Description reworded for clarity. No function change. Previously, every 25 seconds, upheaval guaranteed an overpower and dealt 10 to 25% more damage. The timer is reduced 4 seconds when upheaval overpowers a boss or elite. Now, every 25 seconds, your next upheaval cast is guaranteed to overpower and deals 10 to 25% increased damage. This timer is reduced by 4 seconds when upheaval overpowers a boss or an elite enemy. Okay. Earthstriker's aspect. I mean, I kind of like this change. I guess I should talk on it a little bit more. I always did charge upheaval. That was just my favorite thing to do on a barb. So I guess I should talk a little bit on this, but I don't know. More overpowers for upheaval. I like it. There's nothing wrong with that. Earthstriker aspect bonus overpower damage reduced by a chunk. Holy crap. Woo! 35 to 50 to 15 to 30. Ow. Aspect of Relentless Arms Master. Fury generation while all 3 walking arsenal bonuses are active increased by a big chunk here. So this is good. Maybe they want to finally get into that whole swapping aspect again. That's good. Windlasher's aspect was the double swing getting a dust devil. They took out the triple the amount. That's a good thing. Devilish aspect. Previously, after generating 100 fury, your next attack that deals direct damage creates a dust devil that deals 0.24 to 0.38 damage. That's just got a slight damage increase. Cool. Dust devil aspect. Whirlwind. Ooh. Okay. So Dust Devil aspect got a big upgrade. I still don't know if that's going to be used, though. We'll just have to wait and see. Got a big damage increase, and also it occurs more often. Like, it got slashed. Huh. Aspect of Fierce Winds. Dust Devils created reduced from 5 to 3. Veterans Brawlers. Now increases the damage for charge, leap, and kick. Ooh. The timer on the buff has been removed. Okay, cool. Of giant strides. Previously that would reduce the cooldown of leap 3 to 5 per enemy hit up to a maximum of 9. Now it reduces the cooldown of leap 2.5 to 5 seconds. Okay, hitting a boss with leap provides a maximum cooldown reduction. Okay, so leap barbs may make a little bit of an appearance here. Of anemia. Lucky hit direct damage against bleeding enemies at a 15 to 30% chance to stun them for 2 seconds. Now, damaging bleeding or vulnerable enemies has that same chance. All right. A vocalized empowerment previously of echoing fury. Okay. It's now equipable by both druids and barbs. Previously, your shout skills generated 2 to 4 fury per active. Now your shout skills generate 5 to 10 primary resources per second while active. This is really cool for druids, actually. Barbs as well, obviously, but yeah, I like this. This is a source of income for primary resource for druids with a big DR effect as well. Looking forward to that. Kind of neat. Unique items. Rage of Haragath. Previously, lucky hit chance up to a 20 to 40% chance to reduce cooldowns of your non-ultimate skills by 1.5 seconds when you inflict bleeding on elites. Now, inflicting bleeding on an enemy has a 20 to 40% chance to reduce the cooldown of your skills by 1 second. We'll see what happens with that. This is something I would have to put into practice to understand it fully. Azarath, that sword no one used. Damage dealt when freezing enemies increased from 2 to 3 to 3 to 4.5. Okay. Can now trigger on non-core skills. So Frenzy. Fields of Crimson. The blood pool now makes enemies take increased damage from all types. Damage bonus increase from 2 or 20% to 30. Pretty cool. And there's Ancient's Oath. Bonus damage duration increase from 3 to 5 seconds. Ooh. So that's that for barbs. Honestly, it looked like some big nerfs, and I know I kind of made it out to be like, oh my god, the nerfs are bad. The nerfs are a little wild, but dude, barbs are doing trillions of damage or billions of damage. It was their damage is still going to be there. I feel like it may not be one-shot territory. It's probably like 3 to 4 shots now, but barbs are still going to be pretty damn strong. So they're just bringing it in line. I'm happy with that. Anyway, moving on. We're like 30% of the way done. we're at what, 40 minutes? Oh my god. Okay. Druids, Spirit Boons, Pack Leader, cooldown reset chance increased from 20 to 25%. Energize, Spirit Restoration increased from 10 to 20. Ooh. Masochistic, Critical Strike Healing increased from 3 to 5%. Also, Wariness, reduced damage from elites increased by 5%. That's a big change because DR is rare now. So these things are good. Okay, so let's look at skills. We got Claw. Okay, so Claw and Maul both just got a bit of a damage increase and attack speed and Fortified, depending on what you're going for. If you're going for Maul, you're getting Fortified. If you're going for Claw, you get attack speed increase. That's good. Positive. Raging Pulverize. Stun duration increased from 2 to 3. Nice. Shred. Damage increased by 10%. Increased Shred or Enhanced Shred. Healing effects 2 to 4%. I still don't think people will. I don't know. Yeah, 10% is a lot. It can be a lot. Debilitating Roar now categorized as a shout skill. So this is used with what we previously read with the primary resource gain. That's going to be huge. Wolves now gain Unstoppable when the skill is cast, and their health has been increased by 200%. Respawn reduced from 10 seconds to 5. Hurricane damage got increased big time. That's a nice little chunk of damage there. 134 to 187. Petrify. So Petrify got a pretty solid change. We messed with this in the PTR. It was a lot of fun. For those that don't know, though, previously Petrify's effects durations were increased by 1 second. Now, Petrify grants 50 spirit when you cast it, and its effects are increased by 1 second. Supreme Petrify, killing an enemy affected by Petrify gains 25 spirit. Now, killing an enemy affected by Petrify reduces its cooldown by 1 second. Hitting a boss with Petrify reduces its cooldown by 10 seconds. So, if you had a big group of monsters, you'd pop this, kill them all, booyah. Get your cooldown back pretty quick. Pretty nice. Okay, so Lacerate got changed up a little bit. Previously, Lacerate hits heal for 3% max life, doubled on critical strike. Now, Lacerate hits heal for 3% max life, doubled on crit strikes. The first crit strike is guaranteed and deals 150% increased damage. Supreme Lacerate. Now, when you critically strike with it, you deal 4% increased damage for 10 seconds, up to 40%. That's pretty cool. I could see some crazy shit coming from this. Yeah, you could probably pop Lacerate and then do like a big boom afterwards. I don't know. This could be really cool though. Anyway, passives. Call of the Wild. Damage increase from 10 to 12%. Quick Shift. Now when you shape shift into a new animal form, you deal 1% increased damage for 3 seconds up to 6. Okay. Like I said, they're trying to really cater to the people that want to do werewolf to werebear to human to werewolf, like shifting between the three. Heightened senses. When shape-shifting into an animal form, werebear grants 2% damage reduction, werewolf grants 2% movement speed for 6 seconds. Bonuses are now doubled while both are active. So clarity. Previously gained 2 spirit when transforming into human form. Now, after casting a companion skill, your next core or wrath skill damage and crit strike chance are increased by 5% up to 15%. That's pretty good. Digiterade Gate. I don't know. I probably butchered that. Movement speed got an increase by 1%. Legendary aspects. Let's see what we got here. Of the changelings. You deal 25 to 40% increased damage now while hitting a poisoned enemy as a werebear or a crowd-controlled enemy as a werewolf. Interesting. So the way they set this up now, it's like if let's just hypothetically, you're a werebear, you do pulverize, you stun something, then you swap over to werewolf and you suddenly do up to 40% increased damage. That's pretty cool. I like that. Again, they're trying to give you new play styles to play with. That's a good thing. Of the Unsatiated. Previously, after killing an enemy with Shred, your next werewolf skill generated 25 to 32% more spirit and deals 25 to 32% increased damage. Now, after killing an enemy with Shred, you gain 20 spirit. Your werewolf skills deal 10 to 25% increased damage when cast above 50 spirit. Okay. Blurred Beast. What do we got? Damage increased from 25-32 to 25-35. Slight increase. Night Howlers. Blood Howl is now a shout skill. Even more regen for your primary resource. Increases crit strike chance by 5 to 10%. I really do feel like we're going to have shout druids. I'm not even kidding. We're going to have shout druids in this next patch. Whether they're good or not, I don't know, but we're going to see some shout druids. Raw Might. Now all shape-shifting skills contribute to the buff stack. Damage increased from 35 to 50 to 40 to 55. Stun duration increased by a second. Shepherds. Now wrath skills also gain increased damage from companions. Interesting. Mangled. Previously, when you're struck as a werebear, you have a chance to gain 3 spirit. This thing sucked. What is it now? While you're in werebear form, you gain 10 to 25 spirit every 8 seconds. I mean, this could be kind of cool. A 25 every 8 second battery kind of thing going on. That's not bad. I don't know. We'll mess with it. of the Mending Stone. Killing an enemy with any skill now replenishes the barrier as well as earth skill. Ooh. Ooh. Of vocalized empowerment, previously of echoing fury. Yeah, now it's the same as we read with the barb thing. Your shout skills are now going to generate 5 to 10 primary resource per second while active, which is a lot. Flesh Render, the unique items. Let's see what we got here. Damage bonus increased from 10 to 15%. Previously, debilitating roar and blood howl deal damage to nearby poisoned enemies, increased to 15% for every 100 willpower that you have. Now, casting a defensive skill deals damage to nearby poisoned enemies, increased by 15% for every 100 willpower you have. Woo! That could be cool. For every 100 willpower you have? We'll see how that pans out. Waxing Gibbous, life on kill replaced with spirit on kill. Ooh. Very nice. That's huge, actually. That could be big. Okay, Paragon changes. Tracker Glyph. Poison damage effect duration increased by 7%. Bane Glyph. Poison effect double damage. Chance increased by 5%. Man. Shapeshifter got a 5% increased crit chance. Wild Glyph. Damage increased by 10%. Inner Beast Legendary Node. Previously, after shapeshifting, your spirit costs are reduced by 10% for 5 seconds. Now, after shapeshifting, your spirit costs are reduced by 5% for 10 seconds, up to 45%. Ooh. If you reach 10 stacks, this bonus resets and reduces the cooldown of your ultimate skill by 5 seconds. Wow, this is cool. They're really wanting you to kind of swap between the two forms here. It's really neat. I like it. Necromancer. Oh, wait a minute. We're on a new class now, guys. Druids. Nothing super major. I mean, the shout changes are huge, but man, I'm kind of excited to play Druid. There wasn't anything like really earth-shattering here, but I think they got some nice buffs. I think Druids are still in a good spot. I really like that they're trying to push shape-shifting into other shape-shift forms and back and forth a lot more now. That's a really cool playstyle that was just not really viable. So these are like baby steps towards that, I think. This is really cool. Anyway, moving on. The class that we're going to be playing in Season 4, and I think a lot of people will be since they buff minions. Necromancer. Whew. I need a drink, man. All right. Let's keep it up. Necromancer. Skills. Enhance Blight. What do we have here? The tooltip now correctly references the defiled area for slow effect. Okay. Blood Mist reduce the movement speed reduction. Cool. We can still move around fast. Golem. This ability can now be activated while crowd controlled. Activating this ability makes the player unstoppable. This is huge. This is very big. Decompose. All right. Let's get to reading. Reworded description to be more consistent with the use of corpses. Interval reduced from 1.5 seconds to 1 second. Increased channeling essence gain by 2 per second. Upgrades now activate when spawning corpses instead of channeling for 1 second. Ooh. Enhanced Decompose. Decompose now causes an explosion when creating a corpse or when the target dies, and it generates 10 essence when creating a corpse. This is really neat. I really like Decompose, but I felt kind of gimp using it. Again, it's kind of the same thing with Incinerate. Any skill that just puts you in place and you have to channel it, it needs to be really strong because you're giving up a lot of survivability and mobility, obviously, for that. And I'm happy to see that it's getting some buffs. Acolytes Decompose. Previously, every 1.5 seconds, Decompose makes enemies vulnerable for 4 seconds. Now the Decompose explosions make them vulnerable. So that's a big change. That's good. Initiates Decompose. Movement speed bonus is now on Decompose's explosions instead of channeling. Bonus movement speed duration from 5 to 8 seconds. That's cool. Army of the Dead. Increased the spawn rate of volatile skeletons by 50%. Supreme Army of the Dead spawn rate adjusted to match volatile skeletons. And it's now categorized as a summoning skill. Ooh. With all the bonuses to summoning skill damage, this could be good. Or even better, I should say. It's already pretty solid. Passive. Inspiring Leader. Previously, after you've been healthy for at least 2 seconds, you and your minions gain 4, 8, 12% attack speed. Now, while you're healthy, you gain 4, 8, 12% increased crit strike chance, and your minions gain crit strike chance as well. 6, 12, 18%. This is good. This is big. All you gotta do is stay healthy. Kalen's Edict. This is the one. Oh man, what'd you do? I didn't like this before because if you took any damage, it just was like useless. Previously, after you've not taken any damage in the last 2 seconds, your minions gain 15% attack speed. This bonus is doubled when you have at least 7 minions. Now, your minions gain 3% attack speed for each active minion. This is good. This is good again. I don't know the exact number of minions you can have, but that's a lot. What we got here? Book of the Dead. What did they change here? Skeleton warriors will now run ahead of the Necromancer more often and can initiate combat. Thank God. Now, will they be able to hold aggro? That's the question. Skirmishers remove 3-second limit from the second upgrade. Wait. Removed a 3-second limit from the second upgrade. Okay. My brain fried for a second there. Makes sense. When I was reading it, it didn't. Reapers, the first upgrade that they get. Previously, a Reaper's attacks against enemies who are immobilized, slowed, stunned, or vulnerable would reduce the cooldown of their powerful wind-up attack. Now, wind-up attacks now reduce one of your active cooldowns by 3 seconds. Ooh. So, more Golem, Go Burr, and Boom attacks? Cool. Defenders now taunts in an area around them. Oh my God. Instead of negating damage every 6 seconds. Exciting. Second upgrade changed from increasing thorns inherited from the player to the defender's reduced damage. Wait, let me read that again. The second upgrade has been changed from increasing thorns inherited from the player to defender's reduced damage taken by 99%. Wow. Cool. Defenders are actually tanks. This is exciting. Holy crap. Shadow Mages. What we got here? Attacks now pierce. First upgrade. Previously, Shadow Mages attacks had a 10% chance to stun for 2 seconds. This cannot happen. Toon? Huh? Little typo there, Blizzard. Come on now. This cannot happen to this. I mean, it's supposed to be just T-O, right? And then it's like they just added an O-N on it. I can't. Okay, move on. This cannot happen to the same enemy more than once every 5 seconds. It's a lot of patch notes. People are going to make typos. It happens. Now you deal 3% multiplicative increased damage for each Shadow Mage that is active. That's good. The second upgrade now has an additional Shadow Bolt fired every 3 seconds. Or every 3 attacks, down from 4. Okay. They're trying to keep the clutter down a little bit more. Cold Mages. Attacks now gain 3 essence from the first upgrade. Attacks now apply vulnerable without condition. Ooh. Another easy way to get vulnerability. Bone Mages. What do we have here? Previously, reduce the life cost of your Bone Mages attacks from 15% to 10% after being alive for 5 seconds. Bone Mages deal 40% multiplicative increased damage. Now, Bone Mages now cast Bone Splinters or Bone Spear every 6th attack if it is on your action bar. Cool. Yeah, when you're... We were toyed with this a little bit, but seeing your Bone Mages cast Bone Spear is so neat. So neat. Okay, second upgrade. Previously, each time your Bone Mage dies from its own attack, they leave behind a corpse and fortify you for 20% of your maximum life. Now, Bone Mages drops a corpse when they die. Bone Mages attacks will grant 3% of maximum life fortify. Okay. Golems. What do we got here? This is juicy. Blood Golem. Golem now absorbs 30% up to 15% from the first upgrade. The second upgrade active ability from Golem now heals the player for 5% of maximum life for each enemy drained. Let me reread that one more time. The second upgrade active ability from Golem also heals the player for 5% of their max life for each enemy drained. So it's just a big heal, I guess. Huh. Bone Golem. This is what everyone used before. Let's see what they changed here. The previous first upgrade, each time your Bone Golem takes up to 20% of its maximum life as damage, it sheds a corpse. Now it just spawns 5 corpses around the Golem where it's used. All right. The second upgrade, previously, they would gain 10% life and inherit thorns. Now your Bone Golem unleashes bone spikes when taking damage? Ooh. Wonder what that is. Unleashes bone spikes? That's kind of neat. Okay, Iron Golem. First upgrade, now casts a shockwave every 2 seconds instead of 4. That's pretty neat. Shockwave damage has gotten a huge chunk. From 40% damage to 154%. That's pretty big. Now the second upgrade now also pulls enemies in instead of applying vulnerable. That's fine. We have so many ways to get vulnerability on Necromancer. I feel like this is good. Now it just kind of... You got a mini corpse tendril kind of thing going on here. Ooh, I wonder if you can, like, upgrade the range of that, too. That'd be kind of cool. For those that don't know, in the PTR, corpse tendrils was like pulling the world off screen. It was neat. Granted, that got nerfed, too, a little bit, but, you know, it's fine. Legendary aspects. What we got here? So, blood-soaked aspect. Previously, your movement speed is no longer reduced while blood mist is active. This is already there now. So this is just, we already have this buff innately now, or buff change. Now, while in Blood Mist form, it increases your movement speed by 20%. This is kind of targeting Necromancers being the slowest of the bunch. This is a positive thing. Unyielding Commander aspect. Ooh. Previously, while Army of the Dead is active, your minions gain 70 to 84% attack speed and take 90% reduced damage. Now, while Army of the Dead is active, your minions deal 70 to 100% increased damage and take 90% reduced. Damn. I mean, they took 90% reduced as well, but I mean, now it's... I read that completely wrong. I'm an idiot. Okay, we got a slight buff here. I completely read that wrong. My bad. But yeah, it's a buff. Buffs are buffs. Occult Dominion also increases the max number of skeleton warriors by 2. Yeah, more the merrier. Blood Getters. Previously, your maximum number of skeleton warriors is increased by 2. Now, your skeletal priest empower you at 55 to 70% effectiveness. Okay. I don't quite know what that means, if that's good or bad, but okay. Flesh Rending. Previously, when Decompose spawns a corpse, you gain 25 to 40 essence. Now, when it explodes, you gain the essence. That's good. Rotting. Previously, Decompose can chain and burst up to 2 targets. When Decompose spawns a corpse, it has a 50 to 100% chance to spawn a corpse under all afflicted targets. Now, Decompose can chain and burst up to 2 additional targets. Explosions from Decompose deal 15 to 30% multiplicative increased damage. And also of the Damned. Previously, you dealt 40 to 50% multiplicative increased damage by enemies afflicted by both Decrepify and Iron Maiden. Now, oh, thank goodness. Now it's any curse. You just throw a curse on there, bam, 50% multiplicative. This is big. This is really big. Thank goodness. That's huge damage increase, by the way. Of Untimely Death. Each percent of your maximum life you heal beyond 100% grants you 0.5% multiplicative bonus overpower damage on your next overpowering attack up to 30 to 60% multiplicative bonus. Now it's crit strike damage on your next crit strike instead of overpower. They're trying to bring overpower back in line a little bit. Of potent blood. Previously, while healthy, blood orbs grant 10 to 25 essence. Now, blood orbs just flat out grant you 10 to 25 essence. It's good. Ring of Mendeln. What'd they do here? So previously, lucky hit chance up to 10% chance to empower all your minions, causing the next attack to explode. Ring of Mendeln was really good. Now, every 6th attack from each minion is empowered, exploding for X physical damage. Okay. So attack speed is what you want for Mendeln builds, I'm guessing. Lidless Wall. Lucky hit chance has been increased from 5 to 25% to 15 to 30. That's a huge baseline increase, 10%. Bloodless Screen and essence gain increased from 7 to 10 to 15 to 20. So that's huge. Paragon Glyphs. What do we got here? Control. Previously, you and your minions deal 10% multiplicative increased damage to slowed or chilled enemies, or instead 20% increased damage to stunned or frozen enemies. Now you and your minions just deal 20% multiplicative increased damage to crowd controlled targets. I don't like that. Why they got to be crowd controlled? Just give us the flat 20% increase, man. Oh well. Dead Razor Glyph, additional bonuses, a maximum bonus, a buff to 15% multiplicative. Dominate Glyph, bonus overpower damage per 5 willpower reduced. Okay. Man, they got pretty big. Reduced from 39, basically 40% to 15%. Cult Leader Paragon Node. Your minions deal 15% multiplicative increased damage for each 20% of attack speed bonus they have. Now, your minions deal 30% increased damage for each 20% multiplicative of attack speed bonus they have, up to a maximum of 100%. So basically, this is huge. I don't know what it could have reached before, but this is pretty big. You can get up to 150% increased damage. Wow, that's wild. If I'm mathing that correctly. I've been known to flub it up with math, so don't worry about it. But, dude, Necromancers, I'm excited for Necros. This will be the first season that I start with a Necromancer, and I am super stoked to dive right in and see what this is all about. I played a few Necromancers in the past. All I played in Diablo 2 was a Necromancer. I didn't like the direction they took Necromancers in D3. D4, it's kind of like middle of the road for me. I like them, but I wish that they were like D2 Necromancers more. Like the skeleton minions just suck in D4. Now it looks like things are starting to change on that end. Now, I'm really interested to see what this AoE taunt is from these defender skeletons. I'm really excited to see what this is all about, but Necromancer, I'm really hyped and stoked for season 4. I'm really excited to see what we get with that. Moving on. We're getting there. Rogue. What we got with Rogue? I feel like I have heard the least amount of things from Rogue this season, but let's see. Stun grenades. Stun duration's been increased by double, 0.5 to 1 second. Inner Sight. While the Inner Sight gauge is full, you gain 25% increased crit strike chance for 4 seconds. Attacking enemies that are not marked will fill the gauge, but at 5% of the normal rate. That's fine. Preparation, reduced energy requirement from 100 to 75. Flurry. Damage increased from 66% to 75%. Cool. Volley can now be canceled slightly earlier from another skill. Passives. Victimize. Fix an issue where this wasn't activating and scaling from certain instances. Increased chance to proc from 45% to 50%. All right. Paragon. Exploit weakness legendary node. Maximum increased damage buff from 15 to 25%. Multiplicative. Legrana's Instinct legendary node. When Inner Sight's gauge becomes full, you gain 100% chance dodge chance for 2 seconds. Your next 3 core skills deal increased damage equal to 25% of your core skills damage bonus. That was previously. So now your core skills just flat out deal increased damage while the gauge remains full instead of your next 3 core skills. So that's good. That's pretty big. That's a positive change. That's a very positive change. So while Inner Sight's gauge is full, you just go ham with your core skills and do damage. Chip Glyph. Increase physical damage bonus from 6.6% to 9.9% for each 5 decks purchased within range. Okay. Legendary aspect of encircling blades. Increased damage range buff from 10 to 25% to 15 to 30%. That's pretty big damage range. Opportunist. Previously, when you break stealth, you drop a cluster of grenades. Now, when you break stealth, you drop a cluster of grenades. Deal physical damage and stun. Your grenades deal 25 to 40% more damage. Okay. Tricksters. Now additionally increases grenade damage by another 25 to 40%. I feel like they really wanted to go with a grenade build now. And I really am curious what people come up with. Grenade builds could be neat. I don't know if it's enough, though. It's kind of weird. We'll see. Of Artful Initiative. Grenade damage increases now a range with higher potential. Increased to 25 to 40% of Uncanny Treachery. Oh, they nerfed the hell out of this from PTR. So, used to you would gain, like... Used to it was useless. Now, when you deal damage to a dazed enemy with an agility skill, it grants stealth for 4 seconds. When stealth breaks, you gain 85 to 100% dodge chance for 2 seconds. They nerfed that from 85 to 100 to 10 to 15. That kind of sucks. Of Siphon Victuals. I just don't like dodge. Never liked dodge. The reason I don't like dodge in ARPGs is because it gives me a false sense of security. You can dodge 9 attacks, but if that 10th one gets through and hits you and it's a big hit, you just die. I don't like stuff like that. If you rely on dodge. Let's see. If Siphon Victuals. Previously lucky hit damaging a vulnerable enemy with a core skill has up to a 10 to 20% chance to drop a healing potion. Now, when you damage a vulnerable enemy with a non-basic skill, has a 5 to 20% chance to drop a healing potion. They need to add, like, if a healing potion drops, you gain, like, 30% increased damage or something for that to be useful. Frostbitten. Previously, chilled enemies hit by your grenade skills have an equal chance to double your crit strike chance to be instantly frozen for 2 seconds. Deal multiplicative 10 to 25% increased damage. Now, enemies hit by your grenade skills have the same chance as your crit strike chance to be frozen. For 2 seconds, you deal multiplicative 10 to 25% increased crit strike damage to stunned or frozen enemies. Escape Artist. Number of attacks dodge reduced from 2 to 7 to 2 to 5. Really? Smoke grenade dodge effect cooldown has been reduced from 45 to 20 seconds. Okay. Of Quickening Fog, maximum dash cooldown reduction is reached from hitting 3 enemies, reduced from 5. Volatile Shadows, when a Dark Shroud shadow was removed, you would trigger an explosion around you. Now, when it's removed, you trigger an explosion around yourself, dealing shadow damage. Also, apply Shadow Imbuement. Oh, that's pretty cool. So another way to get Shadow Imbuement, especially if you're melee. That could be really neat for crowd clearing. What we got here? Blast Trappers. Getting a little tired. Previously, lucky hit dealing direct damage to enemies affected by your trap skills. Can make them vulnerable. Now your trap skills have a 15 to 30% chance to cause an explosion and deal shadow damage and applies vulnerability for 2 seconds. Lethal Dusk. Now evading through an enemy infected by Shadow Imbuement grants stealth for 4 seconds. Breaking stealth grants you 10 to 25% maximum life. That's pretty cool. You just evade through something infected by Shadow Imbuement, which you can get from, you know, Shroud now. Huh. Could be neat. Vengeful. Previously, lucky hit making an enemy vulnerable 46. Now, damaging a vulnerable enemy has a 25% chance to create an arrow storm at the location. Wait, what? Your arrow storm deals 25 to 40% more damage. That's kind of cool. I like that. Instead of an increased crit chance, now you get some promised damage. Now, of arrow storms, let's read this. So, lucky hit, your marksman skills have up to a 10% chance to create an arrow at your enemy location for 3 seconds. Have up to 5 active. Now, your marksman skills have a 36% chance to create an arrow storm at an enemy location over 3 seconds. Your arrow storms deal 25 to 40% increased damage. So now there's not a maximum number? Wait. Dev note, the maximum number of active arrow storms remains at 5. We were just removing this from the tooltip to make it more... I don't know what that word means. Sussant. To make it make more... I don't know. Resistant assailants. When using concealment, resistance and max resistances have been increased duration. Okay, yeah, so your max resistance stuff goes up for 6 seconds instead of 4. Unique items. Writhing Band of Trickery. Reduced cooldown from 10 seconds to 6. Beastfall Boots. Damage bonus reduced from 0.5 to 1.5 per energy consumed to 0.25 to 0.75. Energy restored from using a cooldown has been increased from 5 to 15. Cool. Ooh, Eagle Horn got a damage increase. 10% damage increase. Skyhunter got a damage increase as well. What about what about Windforce, game? Come on. Let's get Windforce up there. No longer a meme, please. I don't know. Rogues, I feel like, got the least in this patch. I mean, they got some cool stuff. Shroud being able to give you Shadow Imbuement is kind of a neat thing. The grenade builds, I don't know what all that entails, but it doesn't seem super strong off of me reading it, but I could be wrong. It could be really good. It'll be really interesting to see what rogues do this season. I mean, at least you have options with grenades now. I don't know. Maybe some dodge builds will be really cool. We'll see. Rogue, cool changes, but overall, the rest of the class is kind of shine it at this point. So, moving on to Sorks. Ooh. Sorks we go. Okay, mastery skills are now considered core skills. Cool. That means that mastery skills are going to get anything from the core skill tags. Enchantments. Enchantment. Frost Nova enchantment. Chance for conjuration skills to case a Frost Nova. No. Another one. Chance for conjuration skills to cast a Frost Nova. Increase from 30 to 35% chance. Frostbolt enchantment. Chill amount has been increased from 15 to 18%. Frost Shield enchantment. Previously, it would revive you, or, well, keep you alive. Now, Flame Shield automatically activates after cumulatively losing 100% max life. Can only happen once every 30 seconds. We've received feedback from players that cheat death mechanics are not desired. The Flame Shield enchantment has been changed to not react to fatal damage, but instead react to taking 100% of your health within a 30-second window. I am all for cheat death mechanics to be killed from the game. I 100% agree. Cheat death is kind of dumb. But, and this is coming from a hardcore player. I've played hardcore since D2. I never even touched softcore in D3. And I've played hardcore for like 95% of my play in D4. If you take cheat death out of the game, You need to fix the bullshit. All right? Now, what do I mean by that? There's a video I watched even just yesterday. It was a video from Rob. You can look up Rob D4 on YouTube to find it. There's a video of his Sessional, the little toy robot that you get in Season 3. They still haven't fixed this bug, but there is a bug where the Sessional can just attack you and kill you. This even happened to him after he cleared a vault. The protective bubble was up, and he just barely poked out and poked back in to grab some loot. And when he poked out, his Sessional lunged. It looked like it lunged at him and killed him. Now, if that happened to me and I was playing hardcore, I'd be pissed. Who wouldn't be pissed? This is the reason why people don't play hardcore, is because there's bullshit like that in the game. Now, I understand bugs are there. Bugs aren't supposed to happen. It's part of hardcore, etc. Right? I get it. But also, I would absolutely love someone to get to level 100 and just instantly jump into Uber Lilith and see if you can do that on your first try in hardcore. Just see if you can do it on one go without getting one shot. Now, I don't know what they changed with Uber Lilith since the PTR, or well, actually it was Season 4. I think they made her more manageable, but let's be real. That fight's kind of dumb. It's not fun. It's full of one-shot gimmicks, and shit like that is why Cheat Death made it more manageable in hardcore. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I feel like cheat death mechanics are kind of stupid in general. I think the game should be balanced better. But while it's still stupid, cheat death is kind of a, oh, I could have died right there to some bug or something. So I'm kind of, I'm juggling both of these at the moment. Still going to be playing hardcore. Just the play style alone makes it better. But that's my argument for that. Like, fix the bullshit, then take it away. Don't just take it away and say, hey, enjoy. Anyway, moving on with Sorc stuff. Sorry. Frozen Orb. New functionality. Travel distance is now controllable, so depending on where you click, that's where your orb is going to go. Damage has been increased by 20%. Enhanced Frozen Orb. Previously, when cast above 40 mana, Frozen Orb's explosion damage is increased by 45% against elites and 30% against all other enemies. Now, while you're healthy, the explosion of Frozen Orb deals 45% increased damage. Cool. Greater Frozen Orb. Vulnerability chance has been increased from 30% to 40%, and duration increased from 2 to 3 seconds. So Frozen Orb got some pretty good buffs. I'm interested to see if we can get some Frozen Orb builds now. I have a friend of mine who loves Frozen Orb, so I'm sure he's excited. Ice Armor. Enhanced Ice Armor. Mana regen increased from 25 to 30%. Shimmering Ice Armor. Previously, enemies that hit you while Ice Armor is active have a 15% chance to become frozen for 3.3 seconds. 3.23 seconds. Now, while Ice Armor is active, you reduce its cooldown by 1 second for every 50 mana you spend. So if you're just pumping out, stuff while you have Ice Armor active, you can just get the cooldown reduced. Mystical Ice Armor. Previously, damage against vulnerable enemies contributed 50% more to Ice Armor's barrier. Now, while Ice Armor is active, you periodically chill close enemies for 20% and deal 15% increased damage to Frozen. Pretty cool, man. Ice build's making a comeback, maybe. Shimmering Frost Nova. Previously, Frost Nova generated 4 mana per enemy hit. Now, Frost Nova grants 3% dodge chance per enemy hit, up to 15%. Hitting a boss gives a maximum amount for the next 8 seconds. You keep this effect, and successful dodges generate 20 mana. Huh. I'm not the biggest fan of dodge, but could be kind of neat. Can you imagine if you get your dodge chance high enough and there's like an attack that is very fast hitting, but not maybe there's like an attack that you can stand in and not take crazy amounts of damage, like you can heal through it. And if you're dodging a lot of that, it's just a mana battery right there. You know, that could be cool. Could be really cool. Flame Shield. Enhanced Flame Shield previously would grant you 25% increased movement speed while active. Now Flame Shield has a 50% larger burn radius. All right. Mystical Flame Shield. Previously, you gain 25% mana cost reduction while Flame Shield is active. Now, after Flame Shield ends, surrounding enemies are stunned for 3 seconds, and your next skill within 10 seconds is a guaranteed crit. Ooh. Ooh. Pretty kind of neat. Teleport. Previously, teleport's cooldowns decreased by 0.5 seconds per enemy hit up to 3 seconds. Now you gain 30% move speed for 3 seconds after teleporting. Mystical Teleport. For 4 seconds after teleporting, crackling energy hits 2 additional enemies. Now teleport deals 500% increased damage. Teleport did damage? Shows how much Sork I played. It also forms crackling energy for each enemy hits, up to 3%. Oh wait, yeah. It does. I remember now. I've only played one Sork, so that's gonna change in this season. Supreme Deep Freeze now applies vulnerable for 5 seconds when it ends. Ice Shards damage increased by 28%. Enhanced Ice Shards ricochet chance has been increased from 40 to 50%. All right. Hydra baseline amount increased from 1 to 2. How about a little damage increase there, Blizzard? Come on. Give me that Hydra damage. I'd love to bring Hydra back. I loved Hydras. Lightning Spear damage has been increased by 8%. Greater Charge Bolts damage has been increased from 25 to 35%. Incinerate. What have we done now? Has new functionality. You gain 15% baseline damage reduction while channeling. This is what I was talking about earlier. If you give us something with channeling, that's how you die. When you're standing still in this game, that's how you die. So this is good. 15% baseline. Damage has been increased by 10%. Okay. Passives. Elemental Attunement. Cooldown reset chance has been increased from 5 to 7. Excuse me. Damage reduction for Mana Shield increased by 1%. Devouring Blaze. Crowd-controlled enemies now provide the damage bonus instead of immobilized. Okay. Conjuration Mastery. Previously, you gain 1% increased damage for each active conjuration. Now, you gain 1% increased damage, 1% move speed, and 2% mana gen for each active conjuration. Huh. That's kind of neat. I like that. Convulsions. Lucky hit chance increased by 2%. Shocking impact damage increased by 100%. 0.2 to 0.4. Elemental dominance damage increased from 3 to 4%. Legendary aspects. Let's see what we've got changed up here. Bounding conduit. Previously you gained 15 to 30% move speed after teleporting. Now, teleport's cooldown is removed by 1 to 2.5 seconds after teleporting. Crackling energy hits enemies. Okay. Of Frozen Orbit, damage is increased by 15%, or 15% baseline and 20% at the end. 30 to 40 to 45 to 60. Of Concentration, previously your mana regen is increased if you have not taken damage in the last 2 seconds. Now, casting a Conjuration skill grants you 10 to 20% damage reduction for 5 seconds. Wow. All right, so let's look at this for a second. So, hypothetically, you're going Incinerate build with Hydras. You cast a Hydra, you throw out Incinerate, suddenly you have up to, what is that, 35% DR from your skills for 5 seconds? Hey, this could be good. Of Abundant Energy. Chance to chain an additional enemy increased by 15%. Snowguard aspect, damage reduction increased from 10 to 25 to 15 to 30. of singed extremities. Now both immobilize and stun trigger the slow effect of conflagration. Previously, while channeling incinerate, your burning damage is increased by 25 to 40%. Now, while channeling incinerate, your burning damage is increased by 25 to 40%. Enemies hit by incinerate explode. What? Burning all enemies for over 6 seconds. This effect can occur when... That's kind of cool. So now if you kill something with it... dude, I gotta have an incinerate build now. That just seems fun. Splintering energy. You could spawn additional lightning spears when you cast. Now casting lightning spear always spawns an additional lightning spear. And it increases your damage with lightning skills by 10 to 25% for 3 seconds. Ooh. Nice. So Shattered. Enemies no longer need to die while frozen to trigger the bonus damage. Damage increased from 25 to 40% to 30 to 45%. All right, unique items. We're in the home stretch now, boys and girls. Home stretch. We've been at this for like an hour and a half. We're getting there. All right, unique items. Staff of Liam Neeson. Critical strike damage has been replaced with ranks of charged bolts. Okay. Talrash's iridescent loop. Maximum stacks now capped at 4. All resistance variants has been increased 8%, 3% to 10 to 4. Flame Scar. Ember damage has been increased by 25%. Staff of Endless Rage. Damage has been increased by a lot. Isu's Heirloom. Evade grants movement speed at fixed duration increased from 2 to 3 seconds. Huh. And the Paragon board. What'd they do with the Paragon board for Sorks? Because it was quite useless. Tactician Glyph. New functionality. Now lasts 4 seconds longer for each defensive skill not on your bar. And Winter Glyph. Cold damage increase. Maximum raise from 15 to 18%. So not much has really changed as far as Paragon goes. That kind of sucks. Anyway, that's all the class changes, guys. Pretty cool. I'll give a final thoughts on it at the end of the video, but for now we're going to continue trucking along. Let's move on. We got loot updates. All items dropped in World Tier 3 will be sacred. All items dropped in World Tier 4 will be ancestral. Item rarity drop chances have been adjusted. After level 28, the majority, 80% of the gear drop that is not legendary will be rare. Additionally, chances to drop legendary items now scales more after reaching level 50. Item power now increases every 5 levels instead of after 50 instead of on a linear scale. This gives players time to focus on their affixes before the power of gear increases again. Elixir updates. All weak, strong, and potent elixirs have been removed and replaced with the following more powerful versions, which are available at level 50. I'm not going to go through all of these, but pretty much cold resistance 1 and 2, 30% experience gain. Potions, level 2 potions give 8% XP gain, and tier 2 potions give 30% resistance. Maximum resistance up by 6%. For all elements, now Elixir of the Barbs, armor has been increased by 300. Thorns is increased by 150. Okay. So they basically mix match that. So now armor and thorns on 1 potion. That's good. Fortitude, maximum life increased by 20% at level 2. Destruction is overpower damage and vulnerable damage. Ooh. 15% at level 2. Precision is at level 2. Crit strike and crit strike damage. Nice little chunk of increase right here. 35% crit strike damage. Elixir of Advantage. Attack speed increase up to 15%. And also lucky hit chance 15%. So they basically combine potions to be better and less cluttery. This is good. Elixir of Resource got a change from the PTR. It used to reduce your resource cost by 30%. Now it's 20% at level 2. And maximum resource increased by 25. We have some new elixirs. What are these? Let's see what these are. Elixir of Holy Bolts. After killing an enemy, holy bolts fire from the enemy's corpse of that enemy, and experience is gained by 6%. This could be really cool for just clearing things. I mean, you got extra form of damage. I don't know how much holy bolts do, but elixir of momentum after killing an enemy increases your movement speed by 3% for 5 seconds. This effect stacks up to 15 times. Pretty cool if you need movement speed. UI and user interface. What do we have now? Can we see all of our buffs? Is that a thing? Let's find out. Isu's heirloom now denotes the bonus critical strike chance based on movement speed in the item's tooltip instead of the buff on the buff bar. A new option for camera to zoom further out has been added in the graphics options section. It's not much. It's something. It's nice, but it's not much. Crafting materials now have rarities associated with them. New notifications related to the expiration of migrated seasonal stashes has been added. Search through your stash now supports filtering by item power. Ooh. Drop item can now be used when selecting Control-click on keyboard. The skill tree can now be navigated with the D-pad. There is no longer a pop-up on the HUD when picking up items, apparently. They took that out. Miscellaneous changes made to improve overall readability throughout the game. So the gauntlet changes. I still haven't ran a gauntlet. This doesn't entice me at all, but players who earn a Seal of the Worthy for a given week in the gauntlet now have a 100% chance of being rewarded a unique item. So you actually get something for it now. Boss monsters won't drop a shrine if they have been regenerated by the Pillar of Proving. Got a new Nightmare Dungeon rotation for World Tier 3 and 4. It's different. I'm not going to read through all these, but hey, World Tier 4, we got Older's Cave and Sirocco Caverns. That's the important part. Those are my two favorites. Is Dopamine Tunnels in World Tier 4? Champion's Demise is in World Tier 3. I don't see Dopamine Tunnels at all. There's Blind Burrows in World Tier 4. Dead Man's Dredge. Goa Ruins is here in 4. I mean, I could do a Control F, but I don't know. Dungeon rotation changed. Okay, miscellaneous. Traversal skills such as leap and teleport can now easily travel the distance to go to the edge of the screen. This will improve parity with mouse and keyboard players. Ultra-wide monitors, you may not traverse to the edge of your monitor. These traversal abilities have a set maximum distance that they can travel to. More real estate means more distance traveled. We're going screens away. More skills will now appear more visually powerful as the skills gain power. Additionally, existing visual scaling has been improved. So this is neat. The one improvement that was obvious for people was something like Incinerate. The more Incinerate skills that you had, no one used Incinerate, by the way. Well, a few people did, but not many. But with Incinerate, the stronger it got, you would see like a little hinge or a tinge of a blue flame inside of it. I think this is a really cool concept. I'm a bit old school. The first time I remember seeing something like this is in a game called Secret of Mana. Old Super Nintendo game, but the more higher your skill was with a spell, it would change the effect of it, right? So fireball at first would just be a fireball, and as you skilled up that fire spell a bit, got it to a higher rank, it would turn into like these flying dragon heads and stuff like it. It was just really neat. Really it gave you a bit of a sense of improvement, or kind of an accomplishment for getting such high level and skill for something. It was really neat. I like it. Really do. Anyway, experience rewards from completing dungeons events have been increased, so cool. Damage over time will no longer interrupt channeled skills. Thank you. Channeled time for interactable objects, such as picking up bloodstones, has been halved, basically. Or not halved. From 1 to 2 seconds down to 0.275. Legendary items and unique items can now be traded. This only includes unaltered items. Imprinting, enchanting, tempering, or masterworking an item will bind it to your account. Mounts can now be spurred in town. Yes. The local PTA has commissioned the town crier to implement scrolls of speeding to no avail. So now we can run fast in town. Glyph experience has been increased by 25%. They could literally double that. I don't want to do homework when I play this game. Leveling glyphs just sucks. Sorry. It's not fun. Flat damage from lucky... you know what? Keep the glyph XP where it's at. Allow us to do it in multiple forms. Give us something in Helltide to give us some glyph XP. Don't force us to do nightmare dungeons for this garbage. It's boring. It's one of the most boring things in the game. I hate it. Flat damage from lucky hit procs can be critical hits, but still cannot overpower. The bonus experience for World Tiers 2, 3, and 4 have been increased. World Tier 2, this has been needed. Sorely needed. So 30% increase for World Tier 2. 50% for 3 and 50% for 4. Why don't they just increase this 50%? You know what? It is what it is. It's fine. So basically it goes up 30% and 50-50. Nightmare dungeons have been empty for 2 minutes, will now automatically be closed instead of reset. The gold cap has been increased from 9 trillion to 99 trillion. I didn't even know that was possible. So that's interesting. Mutterlock chest now additionally dropped 500 obols. The obol cap has been increased from 2,000 to 2,500. World boss health has been greatly increased in World Tiers 3 and 4. Oh my gosh. This is actually something I haven't ever voiced, but I talked about it with people in Discord. Make world bosses great again. Like, seriously. Make those things dangerous. Make those things kill people that aren't prepared. Like, if you go to a Shava and your resistances to poison aren't capped, let a Shava mess you up. Like, maybe not one-shot territory, but strong, dangerous, scary. And, of course, their health increase, you know, make them last longer than a bonk or two. Greatly increased. Let's see how it is. I'm excited. I want to make world bosses great again, please. They were so fun in the beta and in the server slam last year. Like, doing a Shava solo was so fun. Doing a Shava with a group was dangerous and fun too. It was an achievement to bring that thing down. Players can now change their hairstyle on the wardrobe. We got a pair of scissors. Cool. We had some miscellaneous bug features. If you want to read these, here they are. You can pause and read this. I'm not going to read all that. Gameplay bugs. Any important ones here? You know, I wonder if they fixed there's a bug for Ancestral Charge if you had that aspect on. And I've ran into this bug so many times. Doesn't look like they messed with it. But there was a bug with Ancestral Charge where it just wouldn't work sometimes. And then, like, sometimes if you didn't catch enemies with the Ancestral Charge itself, the cooldown wouldn't work right or something. It was really weird. It didn't make any sense. Oh, wait. Here it is. Fix an issue where the Ancestral Charge aspect legendary could occasionally stop functioning properly. So maybe they did fix it. It was kind of annoying, though, because when you rely on Charge to kind of get you through dungeons really quickly and then it just stops working, it's like, okay, guess I'll wait 9 seconds. Fix an issue where the guaranteed overpower from Earthstriker's aspect could not be used by Crosstalk. Damn. Druid had a bunch of fixes here. Like I said, I'm not going to read through all of these, but if you want to, you can pause and read through these as well. I'll probably go back and read these, you know, before season 4, but I'm not going to waste my breath on all the bug fixes. Looks like there's a lot, though, so, you know, if you can't read them because my head's in the way, I'm going to provide a link in the description in the comments below so you guys can check it for yourself too. You can just view all of these things, but yeah, there's a bunch of bug fixes. A bunch of bug fixes. This is why you need a PTR. See all these red letters? This is why PTRs are great. I personally don't like PTRs, but they're great. They're useful. This is very good. So now we don't have to deal with them on release. So in general, what do we get here? Ooh. Fix an issue where players' defensive capability can prevent Fortify from being applied. That sucks. Quest and dungeons. Hopefully, they fix some of these where they just couldn't keep going. UI and user interface. I wish that they would allow us to see more buffs. I don't know if they did that with this, but I didn't read it. I didn't read it anywhere. Anyway, let's go over some final thoughts here and we'll wind down. This is a long-ass video, guys, but it is a long-ass group of patch notes here. Very positive. That's all I can say. Diablo 4 needed some love, and I think Season 3 was quite a snooze for most players, myself included. I played Season 3 at the beginning. I lasted about a week playing it on and off stream, and I was kind of done with it. I came back, obviously finished up the season journey and all that stuff, but Season 3 I wasn't a fan. Season 4 really has my interest. It really does. There's so many different changes to this game that's coming. I really feel like I'm going to play this game like it's fresh again. Granted, the world's still there. It's still the same kind of general Diablo 4. It's still Sanctuary that we know and have played before. But there's so many different fundamental changes to the game that I really do feel like you need to go into this with a blind eye. Just walk in and start relearning the game again. And this is really good because it's called a Loot Reborn. Season 4, I guess, is called a Loot Reborn or something, or the big patch is called that. It is very reminiscent for Final Fantasy 14 players, actually. I myself was one for 10 years. And, when 1.0 was what it was and it was so bad that they had to rehash the entire game and just remake it all into something that was way better to an extent. That's what this feels like to an extent. It's not as groundbreaking, I guess, as 14 Realm Reborn, but Loot Reborn is going to change Diablo 4 so fundamentally that you need to go into this with both eyes kind of open to it, because every time you pick up something, what used to be garbage might be amazing now. You just don't know. Like, you need to go into this with an open mind. So that has me really excited for Diablo 4. I'm excited to see where they can go with this, what changes we can get on top of this. We should be getting some information on Vessel of Hatred, the expansion, pretty soon. It is slated for a 2024 release. It's May. We're almost halfway through the year already. Time flies, man. But yeah, I'm super excited for Season 4. Hopefully you guys and gals are excited for Season 4. I'm not going to make this much longer. My throat is like super dry and parched. But if you're excited for Season 4, let me know what you're most excited for in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I'm most excited for a Necro Summoning build because it's something I've wanted for a very long time. So that's what's got me most hyped. I'm probably going to play all classes this season just to get a baseline feel for them all. But my two main ones, Summoning Necro and some kind of a Sorceress. I'm thinking Incinerate, but I don't think Incinerate's going to be quite there yet. I don't know. It might be amazing. So that's what I'm most excited about. You let me know what you're most excited about. Hopefully we see you on May 14th when this drops. We're going to be hitting up hardcore and softcore this season on stream on Twitch. So if you'd like to come on over there and hang out with us on the 14th, you're more than welcome to. We're going to be doing a big marathon of Diablo 4 on the 14th, like probably a 24-hour stream. So if you'd like to jump in and see us die in hardcore a few times, probably, come on over. Links are down in the description. If you'd like to follow me on anything, I'd appreciate that. But with that, we're going to wind this long video down. Super hype. Super stoked. Thank you, Blizzard. Let's make D4 good. again. Y'all take care.